Warning! The following episode of Orsini's Uncensored Mind contains explicit language and adult content. The thoughts and opinions stated on this show are reflective of AJ Orsini, the Steve Dave, and their guests exclusively. Seriously, guys, my dada and uncle say some pretty crazy stuff. If it offends you, go be butthurt somewhere else.
Welcome to Orsini's Uncensored Minds, and now your host, AJ Orsini with Dave.
Hello! How the hell is everybody? Did I just crack this? I cracked it. It's not ready for the smoke, baby. That's right. Welcome back to Orsini's.
Call me by surprise. Your energy like quadrupled before you hit play to now.
I want to start this episode off with the good juju. You know,
Oh yeah,
the blessings. Because here at Orsini's Uncensored Mind, we have received the blessings. We have been given the gift. We have been given the opportunity to do something very, very, very cool, and that's welcome a whole lot of new eyes and ears to the show. Let's update some mofos on what's been going on here. So we've experienced what the industry would call a resurgence, so to speak. Yes, thanks to the good folks out there in YouTube land and in social media, where the word has spread, the word has gotten out on Orsini's Uncensored Mind, the podcast, and we have hit a milestone. Not just a milestone, but a couple actually of milestones, and I'm here to beat my chest about it, and so should you. You're a big part of the whole process here, but we have forever marched on toward our quest for eligibility towards monetization. And one of the biggest stepping stones, one of the biggest things that I ever thought, one of the biggest hurdles I thought I would never really get a chance to cross. That's why I never really harped on it too much, was for the minimum level of monetization, you need at least 500 subscribers on your YouTube channel to get even the ball rolling. They're not even going to take your fucking call if you can't even sit on 500. Now, that's not a lot for certain podcasts, but it's a lot for us. And I am proud to announce we have hit that benchmark. We have succeeded in expanding and branching out to well over, actually. Where are we at now with that? Because it's still climbing as we speak. We are currently at 516. I'm getting the fireworks right now as I click the thing. It says, congrats, 500 subscribers to the YouTube channel. That's not including all the other social media that we're attached to. That's not including all of the other audio support systems that we have connected to us. I mentioned last week how big we're doing on Spotify as one of the big contributors to our show. So we have a lot of new listeners. This is going to be like everybody who's been joining up for the last couple of weeks. They've definitely gone back and listened to some of the older stuff, but this is one of the newer episodes. If you're a brand new subscriber, this is going to be like one of the first new episodes that you're going to catch. So let me break it down to all you rookies, all the newbies here. We air our full episode on Wednesday, 3:00 in the afternoon. We record it on Tuesday. So currently, right now, it is March 17th. Oh, let's say Patty's Day, and we'll get to that in just a second. We are recording on Tuesday. We air it on Wednesday at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Eastern Time. It's very important because that's another thing that I have to talk about really quickly here at the top of the show. I realized over time that time zones are funny. So, like, 3 p.m. for us is 3 a.m. for somebody else, and 3 p.m.
Mhm.
for them is 3 a.m. for us. So, I've kept the theme of three, not just 3 p.m. and 3 a.m., but every 3 hours. So, for those of you out there who are new to the channel, get ready because there's a lot of releases on this channel. I have the shorts that release every 3 hours. Our main show Wednesday at 3 p.m. and every day after that at 3 p.m. is another major release. Not the full show, but then once we do the full show, you'll see it in segments, and then some of those segments get turned into shorts. So if you don't happen to catch the full episode, or if you just kind of want to watch part of the show or what other topics interest you, no problem whatsoever. It's all on YouTube, easily accessible for everybody to get their hands on. And I've generated most of the content through playlists. So if there's something specific you want to hear from us, whether it be the actual pro wrestling stuff that we predominantly talk about, or some of the stuff that Dave and I have gotten into, as far as the video games, as far as news topics that we've talked about, we have our what if segments that are on there, what the fuck segments, a whole litany of options for anybody that kind of wants to get an idea of what the show's about, all on the YouTube channel. If you're one of the new subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Tell your friends, because the next goal is 1,000. So go ahead and keep that going, guys. Get that out there for the people to get their hands on and listen to more Ant and Dave talk their shit. And speaking of which, before I get into what we're going to talk about today, I'm giving Dave a reprieve. He gets 1 week because I was going to pull the trigger for this show, but I decided not to because there's a missing element. Okay. So for a split second, let's just get into this. 24 years, folks.
Oh, okay. I think I know where we're going.
24 years. 24 years. It has been, Jesus Christ, it's been 24 years, but they're back.
All right, so it was what you thought. I don't know what's happening. I've been on pins and needles since you announced it.
So there was an announcement made this past Sunday. In case you guys haven't been marks like me and you haven't been paying attention to the social media, there's been a lot of teasing. There's been a lot of will they, won't they kind of situations. But the rumors are indeed true. The cast of Firefly has made the announcement. They're back. But here's why.
Here's a caveat.
Here's why this shit is not segment 1 today. Okay? Because this is news worldwide. But we're not talking about it today. I'm going to give it one more goddamn week because all the chips seem to be on the table. All the puzzle pieces seem to be at place except for one. So for those of you who didn't hear Nathan Fillion and the rest of the cast who said their pieces, but it was mostly Nathan, who made the announcement that they're bringing back the Firefly series. Now, he said there were some caveats to it. They needed Josh Whedon's permission and his grace that you go ahead, go with it. He is the original creator of the show. He said, go for it. So they have the blessing to move forward. Firefly was owned by Fox, but Fox was bought over by another entity, by Disney. So Firefly is no longer under the Fox banner. It is under the Disney banner, but that doesn't automatically make it something that would be able to be aired on Disney Plus. There's some hurdles that need to be climbed over before then. So despite having Josh's blessing, despite already having a script, they showed us an actual picture of a script. Despite having another piece of the puzzle, and this is where they kind of lost me a little bit. It's going to return in animated form. It will be an animated series.
So the actors are just voice acting.
They're going to be voice acting the characters, correct. It's the original cast.
How long ago was the show?
24 years ago.
This might not be a bad move.
It's a terrible move. And hold on. Right. I'm not gonna go that deep into it now. We're gonna save it for next week because this week they're making the pitch toward platforms in order to host the actual series. They have showrunners. Like I said before, they already have a script. I just told you now there's going to be an animated series. They already have an animation house already prepared to go to begin the process. They've already made sketches of what the show could look like. Those have also been released. So everything seems to be in order. The only thing left is to find a solid platform to stream it on.
They need a home.
That's death. They need a home. And that's the exact phrasing that he used. We need a home. And that's where he asked the fans to continue their support, like, subscribe the actual video, let them know that you guys still want this after all these years, that it's not just this is not, folks, this is not a drill. This is it.
This is a call to arms.
Call to arms.
Love this shit.
If you
now's your last chance.
If you really want this bitch back, this is your chance to do it. It's all in place. It's not a hope situation. I'm not a fan of the animation thing. I'll explain why next week, but I'm still on board to see the actual show.
You want to at least see it end, right? Because it stopped, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, that's the other part about it. That's the reason why they're going with the animation route, because at the end of they had the one season that ended abruptly. Like I said, it was canceled. Well, like I said to you off air, it had been canceled. There was a bickering. There was bullshit happening between Josh Whedon and the production companies and the people that the powers that be, and he rather suicide the baby than have it bastardized. So that's kind of what ended up happening.
I respect it,
and that's why we never really got another backup series. Now, they did a movie called Serenity a few years later that was supposed to wrap up the story from the show.
Yep, I do remember that.
They did their best. They did give us an ending. It wasn't necessarily an ending that everybody was really all that gung-ho about. There was always this feeling of something still being left on the table. So what they're doing with this show is they wanted to make sure they had every original actor and every original character that they could. At the end of Serenity, spoiler, even though that movie came out a long time ago, Wash, one of the more important characters, played by Alan Tudyk, he dies at the end of the movie. So that's one major character gone. Now, there's another character on the show. His name is Book. He's a preacher. He's one of the reverends. He's another high-profile character, very important to the story. His character did not die in... Oh, actually, no. His character did die in the movie. I'm sorry. His character died in the movie, but the actor portraying him, the great Ron Hutchinson, also, he passed away in real life. So there was no way that they were going to be able to do Book and Wash had they continued the series. And they kind of want to work with them or work with Alan again. So this was their compromise, their meet in the middle. They're going to animate it, and it's going to take place after season 1, but before the movie. Because there was a large gap of time between the series and the movie. I don't know if that was done on purpose, but they're going to capitalize on that time. And it gives them an excuse to bring everybody back without having to come up with some miscellaneous story as to where they are now and how after all this time has passed. So they figured out a beautiful way, I'm sure, to fill in the blanks. This is supposed to be the season 2 we never got. It's a continuation from the season that we lost back in 2002. So I get why people are excited about it. I also still want to see the show. It just sucks that I won't be able to get to see them. It'll be caricatures, but I'm still down. I still want it to happen. So do whatever you guys have to do, you guys. I'm going to do my part. The Instagram is Once We Were Spacemen. Head to that Instagram. It's got all the information for you guys, the cast, the crew, everything, all the links to where you can show your support for the show. Let's get this bitch going, please. It's been a running joke on television shows for years. Community, one of my favorite television shows of all time, had a running joke where Troy and Abed every now and then would just look into the camera. Hey, guys, we're going to get Firefly back on the air, guys. Don't worry about it. We'll try. We'll do our best. And it was always good for a chuckle. This is it, boys. This is not a drill. Like I said, this is the real deal. Get your asses on social media right now. Hashtag Firefly. Hashtag all that stuff. Get the word out. This is happening. So we're going to get more in depth, or I'm going to get more in depth next week once we have more information to see if we can get a little closer to our forever home. I really do believe it's going to be a Disney Plus deal. You don't have something like that under the banner and not push it, but they have to see a demand before they release the supply, because
Understood.
they have ideas, but someone's going to have to fund them. So in order for them to buy in, so we'll see how it goes. So that's going to be next week for sure. Let's just see how that goes. As far as tonight goes, what are we talking about here tonight?
Hey, what's going to be on the show today?
It's St. Patrick's Day today. It's March 17th. And I know what you're thinking. Every
Terrible
time
accent.
you could be thinking that as well, and I would actually co-sign. It's okay. Borderline racist.
I'm no better. That's why I'm not even gonna fucking try it.
Borderline racist. The only thing stopping it from being full-on racist is my intent.
It ain't good racist, so
it is St. Patrick's Day, and I know what everyone's thinking. Every time they hear the term St. Patrick's Day, everyone's blood alcohol level jumps through the roof in anticipation. Time to get lit. Time to turn it up. Time to get boozed. But there's actually a little bit more to the holiday than people would think. There's more to the whole deal. This is an actual very serious holiday for a group of people that unfortunately got completely bastardized by everybody else. But we'll give you a little insight. We'll talk about it a little bit, have a little fun with St. Patrick's Day here today on the show. We're also going to be divulging into what we teased not that long ago. We looked over a few videos. We did a little bit more research to try to find out what the real deal is. We're talking Microsoft. We're talking the Xbox Helix. We just got exposed to it. I just got exposed to it myself just the other day. I don't know if that was your first time hearing about it, Dave, but it was news to me. See, there you go. Perfect. So not only are we talking about the possible debut of a whole new console / PC inbred ancestral relationship here, but there's a new CEO in town, and she's looking to kick a little ass. So we're going to talk about Microsoft. We're going to talk about Xbox here today. On the wrestling portion of it, Ronda Rousey made an appearance, not her debut.
Just I call it fucking pouty Ronda Rousey. All that damn crying she doing.
My God.
I digress.
She made it. Well, no, we're gonna make a lot of fun of her here today on the show. A lot of fun. She made an appearance on the AEW Revolution pay-per-view that I am hearing from people was just absolute tops. What a great goddamn pay-per-view is what I'm hearing. I just don't have 9 hours to dedicate to it just yet. So we'll see. Maybe if I split it up into days and weeks, I can finish the pay-per-view just in time for the next one. So we'll see how that goes. But Ronda Rousey made an appearance. Why, I think, is the bigger question to be asked, and we'll get in that here today. Our main event segment, unfortunately, I don't normally like to join in on the bandwagon. I know how much everybody enjoys kicking a man when they're down. And in this case, it literally happened that way. But there's a story down in Louisville, Kentucky, the OVW TV taping from a couple days ago. Everyone's on the internet talking about it. We are going to talk about it, but we're going to do it different. Because here at Orsini's Uncensored Mind, if we're not here to educate, what else are we fucking here for? We're gonna give you shit, but then we're gonna destroy you. But then we're gonna build you up. We're gonna mold you into a better you.
That's
you gotta take the verbal abuse before you become a better version of you, my friends.
So don't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah, I know. And right now, Dallas Edwards is strong as fuck right now. That boy is the incredible Hulk. All right, guys, if you're new to the show, here we go. Time for Seg 1.
If it's time to start the show, let's begin with segment 1.
It is St. Paddy's. So now you got it in my head. You got it in my head. I was trying to go ahead and go with it one more time, but hey, what you gonna do?
I'm self-conscious.
Now I'm feeling all kinds of self-conscious. I'm in my own head, but that's okay. We're here to talk about St. Patrick's Day. It is St. Patrick's Day as we record this Tuesday, March 17th, and it is a holiday like no other, folks. It is a holiday for celebration for the great island of Ireland as they celebrate St. Patrick, who brought Catholicism and took all the snakes off of the island of Ireland. That's my favorite part of the whole story. Because then everyone's like, we didn't have snakes. Right. See?
Now that I'm here.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's like a conversation with Barney Stinson, dude. It just reminds me of something like he would say.
So it is in reality, it actually is a very special holiday for the people of Ireland. It's a religious holiday. So on the surface, you would think you gotta have some respect for what's going on, right? You head over to your local church, you pay respects, you pay homage to the great St. Patrick. And many moons ago, a tradition was started that not only happens still to this day in Ireland, but now happens apparently all around the world. It happens, apparently it originated here in New York, but Ireland does it, Japan does it. There's a whole lot of countries that partake in the celebration in the form of a parade, the St. Patrick's Day parade. I know I've accidentally bumped into it a few times. I don't do parades. Sorry if it wasn't on purpose. I'm not a big fan of standing on the side of the street as other people walk in front of me. It doesn't sound like a very interesting or exciting activity. But St. Patrick's Day is taking place. And I want to talk more specifically, that's why I wrote it here, the reputation of St. Patrick's Day. Because as we said, alcohol.
There it is. And we're done. Next segment.
As the old Archer joke once said, here's a potato. Do you want me to peel it and mash it for you, or let it ferment so you can drink it later? This is what it's actually come down to here. Now, when I first heard that the parade had originated here, I thought to myself, what a positive contribution, right? You bring all of the veterans, you bring all of the individuals of high position, you march them down the street, you give the great citizens of the city a chance to applaud and pay homage and pay their respects to these individuals while paying respects to the great St. Patrick up there in the sky, right? Who passed away on March 17th, the year 491, right? Just an amazing guy. But that's where the contributions in the positive category come to a complete fucking end, because I'm going to go ahead and assume that it's also New York's fault that this holiday has also now been attached to the most insane activity that I've ever seen with my own two eyes, and that's the invention of the pub crawl. Just bar to bar to bar, with the caveat that the most impressive pub crawls are the ones who can survive as many pubs or as many bars as humanly possible. You've all seen it, folks. The Kiss Me I'm Irish shirts while they lay passed out on the curb. It's just covered in urine and sweat and shame throughout the course of the evening. The women with the face paint of the shamrocks and the doilies on their heads and the mini skirts. Well, actually, I like the mini skirts. Mini skirts. I'll co-sign the mini skirts. You'll have that one. But Dave, have you had the privilege and or the honor of enjoying the fun side of the St. Patrick's Day holiday?
No, actually, now that I think about it, I don't really think I ever did. Maybe like once I was at a friend's house. You know what I mean? That it just so happened to be that day. I was never a bar person. So I never really went out of my way for it. But I've had a beer from time to time on that day accidentally. Kind of like you in parades. It was me with actually like drinking on that day. It just kind of happens. But yeah, nothing crazy. I never really went out of my way to celebrate or anything like that. So
yeah, I mentioned earlier, I think I misspoke. I said Catholicism earlier. It wasn't Catholicism. It was Christianity that he brought. And I got the year of his death wrong, too. It wasn't 491. It was 461. You see how I got that number kind of like
Disrespect, dude.
upside down? Okay.
Disrespectful.
The funniest, not funny, I found it hilarious. One of my favorite parts about the origins of St. Patrick himself is that he's not even from Ireland. I thought that was the greatest because it's not as weird as you would think. Where you would go, oh, he was born in Britain, he's British, and he brought Christianity to Ireland, and the Irish celebrate him for it. That doesn't sound all that crazy, especially considering that up until a few years ago, for many, many moons, here in the United States, we had Christopher Columbus Day, and that motherfucker had never stepped foot on this landmass a day in his goddamn life. So at least St. Patrick has been to fucking Ireland. That's a bonus. That's cool. So that's a bonus for him. And he brought Christianity there. It started off as a religious feast. All right. They used to have a feast over in the 9th and 10th century to honor Ireland's patron saint. And it's been a tradition that continues all the way until today. So right now, as we speak, it's 6:40 in the afternoon. I got to safely assume that inside my home right now is the safest fucking place to be. Because right now, if I go to I have a bar not too far.
So,
actually, I have an Irish bar not too far from my home right now. 1 block over, Murphy's. I'm pretty sure right now, Murphy's. You know it's an Irish bar. You just
I was just
know
about
it.
to say.
It screams it. Anything should, and the only other name I would have accepted is like a McDonough or something. That would have been another. That would have been another one that I would have taken. But you can hear it. This is the inspiration of what we call here in New York. You ever seen not Secret Santa, the Santa? When everyone dresses up, what is it called again? When they dress up like Santa Claus for Christmas and they all start getting drunk. There's a name for it. Hold on. Santa Con? No. I'm having a hard time pulling it up. It's one of those things. Somebody in the comments will correct me. But there's like when everyone in the city starts dressing up like a form of Santa, and they do the same thing. They go bar to bar to bar to bar, club to club to club to club, and they're all flooding. Right now, the train system is just flooded with green. There's just green all over the goddamn place. I think Chicago was in Chicago. They dye the river green.
That's crazy.
I think that's what it is. Let me see. Green River. Yeah. St. Patrick's. There you go. Is that Chicago? Yep, Chicago. They did it again. Here. Let me show you guys what we're talking about here. They do this shit every goddamn year. Right here. Boom. Look at that. Ah! It's green. Look, they're pouring it in there, dude. They're throwing the green in there. That is cool. Funny. That's funny. I have a picture somewhere of me with a green Colt 45 because I was headed to a friend's house and I cracked them open and I put little green dye in there so it'll turn green. I swear to God, that was the only thing I put in those 40s. And then I tied it back up like that, brought the 40s with me, and it was a good time to have my all. Not only were we buzzed, but our tongues were green too. So it was nice. It was St. Patrick's.
There you go. See, that's how you celebrate.
Is there gift giving? Do they give gifts for St. Patrick's Day?
I don't think so, but I would assume that a lot of babies are made on St. Patty's Day.
Why is that the assumption?
And that's a gift, right?
Yeah, that's the gift that keeps on giving. I
assume when you get hammered, gotta touch some ass, right? No, I don't know. Maybe I'm assuming too much right now.
Jesus. We're in a country.
Bit. I don't want to make the room awkward here.
I feel some of you.
Am I the only one that likes to touch ass? You know what? Disregard my last comment.
I start getting buzzed. I start grabbing cheeks. So that's what happens.
Touching ass. Yeah, where's the ass at?
Well, at least you're grabbing ass. The leader of our country is grabbing pussy.
That's a little too hardcore, man. It's like I'll do some weed, but I'm not really into cocaine. You know what I mean? Like that shit's a little too hard for me. I'll just stick with some ass. I'm good.
So, wow. That's some good weed. You want some cocaine? No, I'll just
No,
stick
I'm
with
okay.
the weed.
I'll stick with the weed, sir.
It's like you want this Mountain Dew Baja Blast? No, I'll just drink my water. Thank you.
No,
I'll be
wait,
straight.
hold on a second now. We can do some Baja Blast.
Some Baja Blast. Anyway, so yes, St. Patrick brought Christianity to the island. It's a religious holiday. It is something of importance on the Isle of Ireland. But here in the States, as per the usual, we take something that originally is a really good idea and is traditionally fun and just completely wipe our asses with it. I'm pretty sure in a little bit when I head over to the store, because I got to go to the store as soon as this is over, I'm just going to hear it. Just every version of Hornswoggle's theme music playing over and over and over and over again.
As you should.
A coworker of mine came to work with a shillelagh.
Hell yeah.
Hold on. He's Jewish.
So what, dude?
That's not appropriation? Is he good? Is he all right?
No, we're celebrating now. If he did that shit on a random ass Tuesday in September,
yeah, where? Look at my shillelagh.
now we got to bring him to HR. But now's the time to do it.
Fair enough.
Now's the time. Get your shit off now before it gets weird.
How can we do? He also, now that I think about it, as a Jewish person, he also partakes in Christmas. So I don't know what his standards are, really, to be honest with you. I've never even heard
him in a bucket. Maybe he's just living his life, dude.
Maybe
he's just living his fucking life.
Well, maybe I got a problem with the way he lives his life. How about that?
Stop trying to put him in a box. He's out here living free.
I live in America.
Everything.
I live in America. And in America, not only do I get to do what I want to do, but I get to tell you what it is I want you to do. That's how this country works.
That's fair. That is fair. Yes.
That's how that goes.
That is wrong, but also true.
So everybody be safe out there. Enjoy your St. Patrick's Day. And we're moving on to the next thing.
Touch some ass.
Touch some ass.
Let's keep this show going. It's time for segment 2.
And our second segment, we're talking Microsoft. We're talking Xbox in particular. We're entering back into the gaming world because after a 30-year career, Phil Spencer is out as the main man, the head honcho, El Jefe of the Xbox world. And we have a new CEO,
challenger,
new person in charge, Asha Sharma. See, shawarma got stuck in my head because my wife kept mispronouncing it, but it's definitely sharwa. There's a W in there. I know that there is.
But two more times, and we're getting racist. Look, dude, I'm gonna show you some racist boundaries today, boy. We're 2 for 2 on segments. Look at that.
That's it. We're burning daylight here on this. But the Xbox, shortly after we heard this new announcement that there is a new console / PC thingamabob about to be released from Microsoft. I don't know if you heard the news, but GameStop has made a earth-shattering announcement. I don't know if you've heard this.
I think I'm pretty sure I heard something about GameStop, and I don't remember what it is. But a part of me wants to laugh again because I vaguely remember when I heard it, it was stupid. So go ahead.
Yeah. So my wife sent this to me, creative director. She sent this to me. It's a whole. I didn't get a chance to upload it because I just literally just got it before we got on the air here. But it says that GameStop, power to the players. It's like a whole headline stamp here. Mm-hmm. Basically says GameStop declares PS3.
Oh, right.
Xbox 360 and the Wii U. They are declaring them officially retro consoles.
Yes, my wife told me this. Yes.
That means in my living room right now, I got 2 retro consoles because I have 2 Xbox 360s that we haven't touched in forever. They're out there, but they're working. They're operating machines. I now am in possession of retro consoles. Actually, those are the 2 in my living room. In my closet, I still have an N64. I have a Super
You got the
Nintendo.
retro.
Yeah, I got retro. I got the grandparents here. But yeah, funny how this new Xbox is about to come out. Now all of a sudden, the Xbox 360 is a retro device. So let's start with the person in charge. You said that you wanted to talk about this for just a little bit because you thought this would be as the industry. Did you agree with the idea that we heard the other day where they thought that the industry was referring to this move as kind of like, and I love this phrase, I'm going to be using it for other things, but sunsetting Xbox, that this is the kind of move that you would make, but they're, as the rumor would say, that Microsoft is trying to, quote, get out of the gaming industry slowly but surely.
I mean, that's what it looks like. But it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it because after watching kind of some of the clips that you sent, because I didn't see those clips when I was at your place. We saw other clips.
Yeah, we saw other clips. Yes, I clipped some new ones. Yeah.
The clips that you sent me backs up what you're saying right now. It really didn't have much to do with gaming, although they kept reiterating and making a point to say that the new CEO is trying to tell everybody that, you know, she wants to usher in a new era starting with what they do best, and that's gaming. And I think it's weird that they would say that and then go on to then pretty much talk about full-blown AI with agents doing a lot of the productivity and stuff like that, where they're saying they want to focus on gaming, kind of like they didn't really say that. They just said they want to start with gaming, but then proceed to like not talk about gaming at all. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think they're really pushing the AI for productivity. They made mention to like help create some games and stuff like that. I don't know what this really has to do with gaming itself, though.
Yeah, the videos that we had seen together when you were at the house, that did predominantly focus a lot more on the actual aspects of the console itself.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you yelling at the screen. Something really bothered you about the way I think they were describing the actual hardware. I can't remember exactly what it was specifically that had pissed you off.
If I remember correctly, the thing that after watching the whole thing, I was looking for a few things, and to be fair, it is unclear, so maybe it does do these things, but the way that they explained it, it wasn't clear enough for me to believe that it did. If anything, they kind of described something that proved what I'm thinking is going to happen, where it's essentially like, I believe Xbox 360 did this as well, where like you could technically browse the internet on an Xbox 360. You
Yes,
just had
that's
to,
what it was.
Use the browser, but it was completely it's two separate entities, if I remember correctly, where it's like you're either gaming or you're browsing the internet, and you can't kind of do both at the same time, or there was limitations. I can't quite remember. That's the same vibe I'm kind of getting here with the like slightly better integration. The problem I have with that is the whole benefit to merging these things together is having the ability to actually use some of the cool features of having a PC while having the console experience. And they were saying that it was going to flow back and forth very easily, which kind of made me believe we're kind of going down the same route. My biggest thing is, are you going to separate the way the games are stored, or are the games stored on the PC side, or can I avoid using the console side and download everything on the PC side of it, where I can load my games, everything from there. That way the hard files are in the PC version, which will allow me to do things. I think one guy said like Skyrim or something like that. He said he likes games like that, but he plays on a PS5. So there's no, I apologize. He wasn't talking about Skyrim. Skyrim is one example, but he was referring to GTA 5, where he plays on a console. but there's a whole nother world of like RP, GTA 5 that he has no access to because he's not on a PC. So he can't join the mods, he can't whatever, however it works, he has no access to it. My thing is this going to bridge that gap? Because even he said himself, he is a diehard PlayStation 5 guy. Diehard. But if Xbox is able to give him that console feel and still be able to do like join those servers and stuff that he can't do on a PS5, he said he's 100% behind an Xbox. So if they can make it work, there is a market out there. My problem is I feel like they're going to separate it, or it's not going to integrate together as smoothly as if it basically just needs to feel like a computer. And you need to be able to like modify the files,
right?
But still have a better user. I would prefer the Xbox side of it to be more of a user interface rather than where the physical games are stored separate from the desktop portion. So that's what I was bitching about.
But outside, well, there were more questions than gripes. Like you were actually just kind of waiting to see more information that came out. As far as the storage is concerned, now I may not have a lot of expertise when it comes to gaming, but PCs are kind of my jam. So the question that I would have as a follow-up to everything that you just said is, are you upset or are you looking into those topics because you're worried about integration, or are you worried specifically about storage itself? Because couldn't you have additional storage? Is there a possibility? With
it has nothing to do with storage. Nothing to do with storage at all. It's integration. It's the ability to modify files is what I'm interested in.
So you're not worried about how much is being stored. You're worried about what kind of access you'll have to the storage itself.
What type of autonomy do I have on the PC side of it? Can I have a friend who I have a friend who plays console, but he wants to do the stuff I was just explaining.
Right.
I don't want to do all that shit, bro. I got you. I'm coming over your house. I'm gonna set it all up for you. All you got to do is log in. My point to that is it gives me the autonomy to allow someone who did not have access to play a thing that I love, he would love, we would love. He comes over to my house and plays it sometimes. He wish he could, but he's one of those stubborn people. This is a fake person. He's one of these stubborn people. Bro, I will not touch a PC. If you set it up for me, I'll just press the button and play. That's what I'm talking about. Let me use the PC side to store the files, store the stuff, be able to modify, be able to do add-ons, Skyrim, stuff like that, mods and shit like that. Also, let me, kind of like you could just double click your icons on a desktop. Have an integration where like an Xbox screen pretty much functions like that, where I'm basically clicking my icons, but have more of like a Xbox console UI and picking my game, but it's running off the back end of the PC side of where that would be where the games are stored and stuff like that. That's what I wanted to do. I don't care about performance. I don't care how I mean, obviously I want it to work, but like it doesn't need to be the best graphics and all. That's what
I was just gonna say. Imagine somebody hears this and goes, but it's gonna look amazing.
Right. Like, I don't care about that. This is one of the reasons why when the Steam Deck announced something very similar to this, I got hyped because I felt like they would be able to do it and that they might, because you can kind of do that with the Steam Deck now. It's harder. If you don't know the operating system, why am I drawing a blank? Linux. If you don't know how to use Linux, it can be a little jolting. So it's like, fuck it, I'm gonna play the game off of Steam.
I'm gonna assume people familiar with Linux is a small percentage of people outside of the gaming world. Yeah.
Which is why this would be fantastic, because it's Microsoft. Everyone knows how to use Microsoft, right? So like, don't segregate the shit. Make sure everything is integrated together. Let my Xbox portion be more of a UI hub to select my games and not where the actual games are stored, files are stored, things such as that. They did mention you can get Steam on there. So there
Yeah,
will be some
they showed
time.
it as one of the options. Yeah.
Right. So they're either going to integrate that into the Xbox side UI, which should take you to the PCs. There's hope because the Steam thing should be where that gap is bridged. So again, I'm interested, but that to me will kill this console if you're not able to modify shit.
That was my next question. On the off chance that they didn't think ahead that deeply, and they were giving you access to two sides to that coin, but they didn't integrate it. It's not lined up exactly like that. Does that hurt the potential sale of this console?
Does it hurt the sale overall?
Yeah, like will it
No.
damage it to a point where people are just going to say, "Fuck it, I'll buy it anyway"?
I don't think it has to do with its sales. I think it has to do with its longevity. So as long as it's something they can build on later, even if they don't, maybe they get feedback. They're like, okay, maybe this is something we can do. But if they decide to draw a line in the sand and they're not going to do that type of integration, then Steam, that's another thing that has to be talked about is if they do this right, this kind of steps right on top of Steam and what they were trying to do. This steps right on top of them because Microsoft already has their, what is it, the ROG? I think it is the handheld that they came out recently. I'm pretty sure it came out recently. I don't have one.
We talked about it on the show, yeah.
Right. So I'm not in the market because I have something for now and I'm broke, so I ain't spending money on extra shit. But if this works the way that I think, if they're smart, they'll put it together and allow a little bit more flow and access, being able to jump on like some of your Blizzard games. If they integrate it right, this like steps right on top of Steam. So
even with it, so is Steam kind of double dipping here? Okay, they didn't get a chance to do what they wanted to do, but they are attached to this. They are going to have, you're going to have access to your Steam account through this new system.
There is a bigger move coming between the three. They've already been talks about it. We are already kind of seeing it unfold. There was a time, obviously, where these three wouldn't even be conversating with each other. I believe they all have a rollout plan for the next couple of years where they're working together, and this is part of it. Xbox making an announcement that they don't want to focus on games anymore, but then shortly after that, they announced the Helix, and gaming is really important to us. PlayStation is going to be like the main gaming focus place, I think. To what extent, I don't know, but that's what it's going to be. Microsoft will be a lot heavier into the AI portion of it, and Steam is going to be more like the PC side gaming. But at some point, somehow, they're all going to integrate with each other, and they're all just going to serve different purposes. Think of it like Steam full PC, Microsoft kind of in the middle, and like PlayStation full console. That's the way I kind of like see it, and then they're all just gonna intertwine in whatever way that they decide to do it.
So to bring it back to the beginning of this conversation, the new lady, Asha. Do you think this is something, everything that you just described, which would be both beneficial, and you also described something that would be not beneficial, you explained both sides, where do you think the new CEO lands? Because if the ending of this, the end goal of this is that we're going to eventually try to slide out of the gaming industry, does she want this integrated? Does she want this to be a massive success? Because if it's a massive success, it's going to make it even harder to get out of the industry, especially when you're making money hand over fist.
I don't think that's not her purpose.
What do you think?
I think this is a testing ground. I think they're using gaming.
Oh, okay.
They're using gaming. This is what I'm pulling together so far with the stuff that I've seen. They're using this phase as a testing ground to roll out the AI that they're trying to push. Especially with the videos that you sent and everything, they're really heavy on talking about these agents working autonomously, right, where they can make decisions and yada 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 on their own. And I think they are going to test a lot of this stuff that they're working on that should be rolling out pretty soon, that they've made very clear to help produce games and see what happens. I think this is a safe place to do it. And with them kind of low-key bowing out of the gaming war, like we're not really going to be gaming focused. Now we just created a testing ground where we can create shit that's like not that good, but it doesn't matter, right? Like this isn't our focus. We're trying new things. You know what I mean? We're see what sticks. But I think this is a means to a much larger end. They're trying to use this gaming as a testing ground where if it implodes, it doesn't affect Microsoft overall as as a company as a whole, because they're not destroying a lot of things outside of gaming when it comes to production and development and stuff like that. So I think gaming is just being used as a testing ground for the AI, and that's her main purpose is to drive the AI, not to worry about games.
That's what her background and her resume specifically states. That's her realm of expertise. They wouldn't have brought in someone in that kind of position if that wasn't their overall larger picture. But now I've got to ask you the question before we get out of here, because I think this is an interesting conversation to have. Let's say if Microsoft achieves their goal. Let's say that Microsoft does, over the years, roll out just enough to kind of officially say, okay, we're out of the game. You guys can have the game industry. We're going to go start doing some of the things. What is the state of the gaming industry? What does that landscape look like with Microsoft no longer in the pool?
They weren't really good for a while anyway.
Fair, but they're still there taking up space. There's going to be like in the essence of like a power vacuum, right? Okay, he wasn't that much of a power player at that point anyway. Probably hasn't been for a few years, but the man still had a seat at the table. There's an empty chair now. So how does this? Are more of the big companies just going to take more of the market? Do any of those indie companies that you guys like so much have an opportunity to step up?
Steam is going to be the gaming thing. It's going to be the gaming giant. They're working. They're going to get there. They're integrated with the other three giants. They're going to, at some point, I'm sure PlayStation will allow some Steam interaction, I would imagine. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be like Steam is kind of is now. And that's the thing, right? It kind of is now. Steam is the mecca for gaming. The problem is it's only on PC for the most part.
Right.
Which is why we're bridging the gap now with some of these console-like experiences with PC on the back end or integrated alongside with it. So if one or two things, because it looked like Steam was really trying to release the OS Linux and try to make it a little bit easier, like a more user-friendly. They're trying to create their own as kind of like to compete with Microsoft. Who knows, maybe on the back end where they're just like, look, don't do that. You can get access to our shit. You know what I mean? Like, we'll put Steam on our stuff.
Don't do that.
You can still use our operating system with other. I don't know. There is a much. We're just gonna keep watching this. There is a much larger deal happening between the three that we are just now starting to see the beginning phases of these deals.
Who is the three? It's Microsoft, it's Steam, and
Sony.
Sony, gotcha. Right.
Yeah, so PlayStation specifically is what I'm referring to. So
right.
Yep.
All right.
I'm just sitting back and watching because look, at the end of the day, just like everything else in the world, this shit is 50-50. It's either I'm about to get fucked or we're about to see the greatest thing to ever happen in gaming. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
Yep.
We'll see.
We will see. We're going to take a quick pause for the cause. This time I'm going to remember to take this off. There we go. A quick pause for the cause here. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We will be back in just 1 minute.
Hey guys, AJ Orsini here, and I am super excited to let all of you know that we have completely rebranded the official OUM YouTube channel. We have changed the handle, we've changed the look, we have changed the feel and the vibe of OUM's exclusive YouTube channel. Now, all you need to do to access this YouTube channel, it's very, very simple. You go into the search bar, you type in OUM Network, or you can type in youtube.com/@OUM Network. It'll take you right there. This is going to be all-encompassing. Every aspect of OUM officially on YouTube. It's going to be the episodes. It's going to be the shorts, the reels, the independent spotlight. It's going to be the OUM Minute. It's all of your OUM needs on the official YouTube channel. Check it out today.
Segment 3 is here, and I can't wait.
Every time I hear it now, because all I can think about is you. All right. Ronda Rousey appears at All Elite Wrestling's Revolution pay-per-view. I know people are wondering, oh, geez, AJ, are you going to sit here and actually talking about an AEW pay-per-view? I am not, despite the fact, as I said at the beginning of the show, I heard it was quite the barn burner. I heard it was just an amazing.
Really? Is it worth the watch?
So, you know what? There's been a lot of people who understand.
What's the one takeaway?
The one takeaway from
what's the one
show?
big thing? Yeah.
You
don't gotta go deep. Just what match?
Right off the top, the main event. The main event is the one that, as far as matches go, apparently there was a lot of good moments. Right? Edge and Christian returns, Will Ospreay returns, the Ronda Rousey, obviously. But MJF and Adam Page apparently had themselves a humdinger of a Texas death match at the end of that show. Like I said, I would need to call out of work and send the kids to a hotel for a few days so that I can watch the whole thing in one sitting. So we'll see when we can find time. I just might check it out.
I don't know if this is just me being battered, but sending the kids to a hotel for a whole day to get no buns and watch AEW sounds like a complete fucking waste of time.
Why are we taking buns off the table? Like,
okay. There's no time. There's no time. You said the best matches in the main event. That's a marathon.
I'm sure there's a match in there where I would rather be fucking than watching it. There's got to be. You know how they take piss WWE matches? You take piss breaks. The reason why it's a piss break is because the match is not going to last long enough for you to actually fuck. All of AEW's matches. You know how matches have time limits? They have time minimums. They've got to go at least 15, 20 minutes every time.
And shout out to the multitaskers out there that can do both. I gotta pause the TV every time. I need all my focus.
I got to focus. I gotta zone in, right?
I digress.
But yes, on this pay-per-view, we had a matchup between Toni Storm and Marina Shafir. Marina Shafir, the wife of Roderick Strong in real life, but one of the members of the Death Riders on AEW. I'd list off the members of that group, but again, I do not have all day. There's a lot of members in the Death Riders, right? But Marina Shafir is very good friends with Ronda Rousey. They go way back from the MMA days. And so the matchup happened between Toni and Marina. Toni is heading up the ramp after the match when Ronda Rousey comes into the ring and does her bullshit little angry face with the point.
What a shit debut.
She just arrived. Like, she just showed up, pointed to the ring, and, kind of like, get your ass back in here. Toni, you got to watch the footage. Toni is a talented woman. And when I say talented woman, I mean she is built with amazing talent, right? She's just, especially behind her, she's got a set of talent behind her that is amazing. She's a talented woman. And so she starts she's doing like a bushwhacker thing down the ramp. She's still doing the whole timeless deal with the whole old school wrestler lady gimmick and the whole deal, which is hilarious because Ronda's in the ring and she's doing her chinky-eyed angry face, and Toni does the whole deal. It gets in the ring and gets in her face and is doing like the whole throwback accent, and Ronda cracks immediately. No fucking self-control whatsoever. She just starts giggling, and that whole thing. And so all of a sudden, security starts showing up. There's nothing happen. There's no one threw hands or nothing.
Which is ridiculous, by the way. Like, I don't want to be that guy, but you don't need that many people in there for those shenanigans. I'm sorry.
Well, you saw the clip. They loaded the whole damn thing up, and
it was ridiculous.
Marina Schaefer comes from behind, and it's Tony Storm knocks her down. They're laughing. They walk off. That's the whole thing. That's it.
It's terrible.
That's the whole thing that went down. So I had assumed that the only reason that Ronda Rousey would be on a pro wrestling show at all, forget that it's AEW, just any pro wrestling show, is to kind of put eyes on the fact that Ronda Rousey is about to get back into MMA, if albeit a short term. I don't know what her future plans are, but we're getting the dream match, a matchup that probably should have happened 10 years ago. I think more people would be involved, would be more into it if this was 10 years ago. It's probably 10 years too late, but it's Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano, the MMA legend herself, who is well into her 40s, and and hasn't been in a competitive fight in well over a decade. Ronda Rousey, who granted is also retired, but much closer to her form than Gina is. They already have quite the undercard for that show. There's an event. I was very stunned because I don't follow the UFC like that, and I always just kind of associated Ronda with the UFC. That's what I've known her for her entire career. Come to find out, this fight's not being put together by the UFC. And I only found that out because of the clip that I sent you that went viral of Ronda Rousey basically destroying Dana White and the UFC, saying that they're being cheap bastards, they won't pay anyone a living wage, the whole shebang. I said, wow, it takes a lot of balls for this woman to leave UFC the way she did and then come back in here talking shit. Alas, she did not come back. This is not a UFC promoted card. This is from a company called MVP. This is Jake Paul and a buddy of his. I wrote it down here. Not that it really matters all that much to me, but I wrote it down here somewhere. Nakisa Bedrarian. He's another guy who's into sports. He's more behind the scenes guy, but the name that we all know and love, Mr. Jake Paul. I found his way. He found life after boxing, and it seems promoting boxing as well as mixed martial arts seems to be his next move. I gotta ask this, not just to you, Dave, but for the folks at home. This is my first time hearing about MVP, which is, what's the M? Go back here for just a second. It is Most Valuable Promotions. I'll ask you, I'll ask the audience at home, feel free to chime in. I kind of dig the idea of one company housing both boxing and MMA. Because I kind of...
In the same ring, though?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know what their setup's going to look like. I've never seen one of their shows. I don't know if it's a octagon.
Or are they just holding...
I think it might... I don't think they do boxing and MMA on the same card.
Right. It looks like they're just different cards.
Yeah, so I just think they house different styles of fights. They just don't do them all at the same time. Like the undercard for the Rousey Carano fight is more MMA people. Like even Nate Diaz is there. You know what I mean? Like they got this card loaded up. This is going to be a great fucking show if you're an MMA person. Yeah, if you're an MMA guy or gal, this is going to be a big fucking event for you. And it's coming up very, very fucking soon. So I just want to ask you, I mean, what are your thoughts on a company housing? Because we've never seen this before. How do you think business-wise this is going to go for them? Housing both?
It could be good as long as they put on a show. I'm not going to lie. I don't know why, but lately I've been like really into boxing. I don't know why.
Age.
But I guess. I don't know, but I've just been like really interested in like just not so much like that. I'm just going and watching boxing matches right now. My toes dipped in. So I'm like reels and clips and stuff like that where I'm just kind of watching a little bit of a highlight and stuff. But even that last was the last I think there was another one that I didn't catch, but the Mike Tyson one, I think there was another one after that. But the Mike Tyson one, I had sat through that whole thing and I was like, damn, man, it's I used to watch some boxing. Like I even remember then.
The sweet science, baby.
I even remember then. So I'm like, I don't know. So to answer your question, I don't know. I feel a little biased right now, but this is pretty cool. Like competition is always good, right? I mean,
but
I
this
don't
is
know.
a different type of competition. They're dipping their toe into two different worlds. They're combining.
Yes and no. I mean, I'm sure Dana could do the same thing. He just doesn't or doesn't need to. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool. Us as I don't want to call us fans, but like the fans are like, win here. You know what I mean? Like, man, the
I'll
fans
watch
win here.
with no stars in it. I'm not one of those kind of boxing fans. I'll watch a fight. I know what I'm looking for. So,
and I'll tell you what too, because here I'm trying to get her name because I saw it. I want to make sure, like I wouldn't even know her. Serrano,
Amanda Serrano. Yeah.
Yo, I would not have known anything about her if it wasn't for the Mike Tyson fight, and she was fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like some of the best in the world. And the cool thing is, like, if it is an early promotion, first of all, I'm pretty sure I could be wrong. I wouldn't put it past them, but I'm pretty sure some of these people they're getting the bag, getting some type of bag to do this. And because it's kind of a new promotion, if it's anything like the ones that I've seen, aside from the Jake Paul bullshit, right? The other fights, they're not out here coasting. They're trying to knock each other fucking head on. It feels like they're fighting for something. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like it's phoned in or anything. Again, I haven't seen it in a little while, but I don't know. It's entertaining and competition is good. Put some more people out there. Put some more spotlights on people. Yeah, especially if you're a fan of boxing, you can't hate this shit.
Well, I did a little research leading up to this segment, and because I had never really heard much about MVP, Most Valuable Promotions. Again, I'll watch a few fights here and there, nothing big. The ESPN app has some stuff on there, but apparently they were founded in 2021, so about 5 years ago, and the first athlete that they had ever signed, and by the way, they're listed as it says they're a boxing and mixed martial arts promotional company established in 2021, and the first person that they signed was Amanda Serrano, and they were the ones that promoted the big Amanda Serrano Katie Taylor trilogy fight, and was that the one where in partnership with as well? So yeah, the one that took place at the Garden where they were the headliners, Serrano and Taylor, where everybody was making a big deal because not many women's boxing matches have ever main evented the Garden. And they were the first, and MVP was the promotion that put that together. They were also a part of the festivities taking place with the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, but that makes sense because Jake Paul is one of the owners of the company, so I get that. They've signed a bunch of people since then, and it looks like they're making a real fucking go at really doing this. The first few fights they have listed under their banner is all basically it was the Jake Paul fight with Tyron Woodley, Taylor versus Serrano, and then a lot of Jake Paul fights. Obviously, he's the fucking owner. Why wouldn't he? But but he spreads it around. There's a lot of not all of them huge events either. Some of them a little lower on the totem pole, but just to get the name out there, get the seasoning. You know what I'm saying? Like get some names under their belt, get some real fights, and they're going between different divisions, between different aspects of MMA and boxing. This could be something really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people are going to sit here and shit on Rousey and Carino based on their out of the octagon activities, just their beliefs and the shit they say in the news. But at one point in time, Gina was pound for pound one of the baddest bitches on the planet. And right after her was Ronda Rousey. This is 1 and 2 in the history of women's MMA. And you can argue which one is 1 and which one is 2, but you're talking about 2 of the baddest to ever do it.
I don't know. I feel like Ronda's got a lot to lose on this.
Way more.
I don't know if I take this if I wasn't confident that I was winning. She's got so much to lose here between being very vocal calling people out. I think the last one I saw, I'm telling you, I'm actually shocked I remember this. I'm telling you, I've been watching clips, dude. I've been watching clips. She called out Khabib about how he wouldn't be nearly like as revered if he fought to his limit. Like she basically said he retired at his peak. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, all right, whatever, let me hear her out. So she continues to bitch about how like it's not really like unfair, but that's kind of like the vibe I got. Like he's really not that good, like, which is fucking crazy to me. Because if she was a man, she would have got slapped in her fucking mouth for that.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. First and foremost, the logic actually makes sense. She's just too stupid.
It's called the circle of life. It's the cycle.
She's just too dumb to realize that she's making the most obvious observation in the history of observations. If he would have fought longer, he wouldn't be as revered because he would have looked shittier as
no shit. Someone would have gotten better and beaten them.
No shit. This is coming from the person who touted herself as being invincible and then got beat by Holly Holm out of nowhere. So yes, if he would have fought longer, he would have looked shittier because that's what happens with fighters. Over time, it works. The skills deteriorate because the body.
Everything, anyone, any athlete, anywhere. That's the way it works. You're the shit, then very few people can be LeBron James. Very few people can. And
for the record, he'll always be revered. What she's referring to is the respect level within the industry, because once you develop a reputation for being a great fighter, even on the downslide, fans will always remember the time you had great fights. He'll always be fucking revered. As far as
go ahead.
I was just gonna say that as far as the legacy of Khabib, after that display against Conor McGregor, he was cemented. He's a made fucking man. There's nothing that's gonna take him out of that spot. He is a legend forever. Now, if you were to tell me that after a few years of fighting, he would have started to look a little slower, a little bit more vulnerable over time, they would have started to fight him.
Times. Yeah,
it was going to happen. Yeah, would he eventually lose that in-house respect? Yeah, because everyone does. Because I'm talking about as far as the fear factor of I said that wrong. I said respect, which was not what I really meant. I meant that intimidation, that fear factor, that I wouldn't want to fight that guy kind of feel, right? Yeah. Because when a man fucks up Conor McGregor and then proceeds immediately to jump out of the cage and fight the whole fucking squad in front of the whole goddamn world, you don't want to fight with this fucking man. And over time, yes, that would have lowered by a lot. He would have become a lot more vulnerable. He would have had a moment where a young up-and-comer would have knocked him on his ass. Even if he didn't knock him out, just being knocked on his ass would have been enough to break down the armor and the lure, I guess, of Khabib. And he wanted to keep that intact, so he went out on top. He did a John Elway, 2 Super Bowls, and I'm out. This is exactly what happened there. But, again, an obvious observation. What were you going to say about Khabib?
Well, I was going to say that he's probably one of the worst ones to attack, because I could be wrong. I'm kind of new to like watching this stuff, but the little things that I've seen before and now, he's quite revered just in general. Like he really seems like a kind person. Like for the most part, people love training with him. I don't see a lot. I'm not saying it's not there. I don't see a lot of Khabib hate. Yeah, I don't see that. He doesn't really seem like the guy. First of all, you don't want to pick on for multiple reasons.
Which is why she attacked him, because she's the one that gets hate. She's not revered, so it pisses her off that she had the run that she did, and then she probably tells herself in her head, if I would have retired before the Holly Holm fight, I would have lived a legend for my entire life. But I kept fighting.
Different. I think she looks at it as, I could have did that too, right? Like he's not so great. He could have done that, right? Like I don't see like
also done what?
I don't think she wanted to. I think she sees it as everyone loves him more than they should, because I could have also did that and still be loved. But I'm better because I continue to fight. Basically,
Right.
is how I see it.
Right. But and even if that's the case, even if that's how she feels, I still feel that the fact that she acknowledges that and it's met with resistance is what I think is the real root of the problem. Because at the end of the day, losing to Holly Holm or losing to any fighter at that stage, at that level of quote unquote invincibility, right? When she was literally that was her moniker, the baddest bitch on the planet, right? That was her whole deal. She was the most dangerous woman, all this other stuff. She was the Mike Tyson of the goddamn, the whole goddamn division. She was the best. She was the one. And then she got caught in a matchup disaster because that's really, from what I understand, all that it really was. It was this was a matchup not tailor made for her, and she wasn't ready for the fight. There was every excuse in the book, but she lost the fight. Every fight after and every moment after, even coming to the WWE, to bring it back to wrestling for just a second, was seen as a cop out. That she took the loss, and that breaking of invincibility that only ruined her to the fans, but it ruined her up here. At one point, she even went on an interview, was like, after that loss, I wanted to kill myself. Like,
yeah, I saw another guy. I forget his name. I can't remember their names. I could see his face.
Was it Diaz? I think it was somebody.
No,
like
I know
Diaz.
No, I know Diaz.
Okay.
It was another guy.
I know you're talking about. He had lost respect for her for that. Yeah.
Yeah, and said that she said committed suicide. He got so fucking pissed. He was like, dude, you were like one of the greatest fighters of all time. Like, you were a phenomenal fighter, and only to lose and then cop out like that and want to cry and kill yourself. He was like, fuck out of here. I lost so much respect for her.
She ruined her own legacy because she took that loss terribly. She reacted terribly. She went on a whole press tour behaving terribly. Even coming into the WWE, she came in with great acclaim to the wrestling audience, but the MMA audience were not very happy with her going into the WWE, as most MMA audiences tend to not be whenever a UFC person goes to the WWE or a WWE person comes into the UFC or whatever the case may be. But it was her. It was her demeanor. It was her reaction to things. She went into WWE to reestablish her persona in the sports and entertainment world, and she ended up burning that bridge. She was disrespectful. She was ungrateful. She was mean to people, and everybody was mean right back to her. And she's one of those people that the minute she's mean and you're mean back to her, all of a sudden it's the victim. She's the victim. You did it to me. I didn't do it to you. She burned a lot of fucking bridges with a lot of fucking people. And now that the WWE run has come to a complete end, look how bad that WWE run ended. Despite how it went, look how it ended. She has the fight of the century coming up, and she can't even go to WWE to fucking promote it. She's a former WWE Women's Champion, and she can't even go over there to promote it because she burned the bridge so goddamn bad. And she's got to go to Tony Khan, and she's got to go to AEW to try to extend an olive branch to the wrestling audience so that they'll go out and buy her pay-per-view, which a lot of those wrestling fans won't, because that's another issue. WWE and AEW, as we've said 1,000 times on the show, are two completely different universes. I could see someone who watches WWE being interested in an MMA fight. I can't see a lot of AEW people all worked up getting ready to see an MMA pay-per-view. I don't see the correlation there. I'm sure there are a few. I don't want to, like you said earlier, I don't want to put anybody in a box, right? But at the same time, I don't necessarily believe that there's a ton of people out there that are really going to be A, all that interested in an MMA bout, and B, her MMA bout. Now, it might be cool to see the chick from Mandalorian kick the shit out of her for some people. I'm pretty sure there's some Star Wars fans in the house
that
are going to be pretty excited to see fucking this lady come in there and beat the shit out of her. But I don't think there's a lot of crossover. I think because she didn't even speak. She didn't promote anything, to be honest with you. And initially, when I heard she had did it, that's what I thought it was. It was a promotional thing, right? Like to get eyes and ears on the show.
Yep.
I no longer think that. Only
No.
based on the fact that she never said anything. She didn't promote
No, she
anything.
just went on her fucking rant.
She wanted the fucking headline of Ronda Rousey arrives at AEW. That's it. Because she knew that that's all it would take to rile everybody the fuck up. I mean, even we're fucking talking about it, right? There's a lot of people fucking talking about it. Where, for good or for bad, there's going to be people who look at that and they go, oh my God, what a terrible move by AEW. There's going to be some people who look at it and go, oh, what a great move for AEW. The point is that people are talking. And I think that's all she really wanted in the end. Love her, hate her. I don't think she gives a shit. I think she just wanted to move the needle, and she did. Because everyone's talking about it. And that fight's coming up soon, too.
And good for her. And it'll take us to my last point, like I just said a second ago. Everything, dude, she's gotta win this fight. I don't think there's one victory in this for the rest of this year that's going to be more important to a person than this fight to her. She has everything is on the line for her here.
Can you imagine a world where after everything she's done and said, to lose to, granted, one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time, but 10 plus years removed from wearing the gloves, who has literally spent the last decade in Hollywood, being in Deadpool and Fast and the Furious, and now Star Wars, and then step back into the ring after training a few weeks, and bangs this bitch out.
Done. Is one of those super Muay Thai knees straight to your fucking cranium, and it's lights out for you. That's it.
I sent you that clip from Joe Rogan. He did it in a short. It was a short. It wasn't even 60 seconds, and he got me hyped. Because he was just talking about strengths, weaknesses. If Ronda can grab her, she's in trouble. But if Gina can fucking hit her, she's in fucking trouble. This is style. I learned. Our grandpa taught me the sweet science many, many years ago. And styles make fights. One MMA person who would love nothing more than to take it to the ground and slap that armbar on her. And the other one who was going to try with everything she can to stay on her fucking feet.
Stand her up. Yep.
And stand her up. I'm telling you, I don't give a shit how old these women are. These are premier athletes. They're going to remember how this shit works.
It's like riding a bike, baby.
As soon as the bell rings, they're going to, and they start putting hands on each other. That first round, that first minute, feel out, right? Feel out. It's going to get nasty in there, and I can't wait. I know I, for one, will be watching it, and I'd like to talk about it on the show.
It's just going to come down to the tanks. That's really going to come down. It's going to come down to how much fuel do these two have in their tank. Ronda looked good, but
she's the younger of the two, yeah.
When you've been out of the game so long, as you know, as someone that's in the ring, you can hit the gym how many weeks at a time you want.
That ain't ring time.
But once
baby.
you hit the ropes,
that
cardio, you start to realize real quick, I'm fucking gassed, bro. I'm gassed. So how big are their fuel tanks? That's going to be the big difference. That's going to be the big difference. So, and Ronda has an advantage, I think. So,
and that's where training comes in, because when the endurance is low, it affects your technique, it affects your concentration, it ruins your game plan. It's
reaction time.
It's the one who can reach their max VO2, baby, and hold out. Mm-hmm. Just let that bitch ride. So yeah, good luck. She's not going to be staying in AEW, guys. It's just an appearance to make some fucking shit up. If she does stay or has some sort of short-term deal going with them, I'd love to revisit this. But for right now, that's all it really seems to be. So that's all that I'm going to take it as. So time now for our main event.
It is now time for the main event of the evening.
There we go. Okay.
All right, let me hold on. Let me go grab your fucking soapbox. God damn it.
Here's the deal. I'm gonna, before I do anything here for this segment, I'm going to do something I've maybe done a handful of times. including provide visual evidence. Okay. So I'm going to show this to you guys before we start this conversation, and then we're going to start the conversation. I have a bachelor's degree in physical education. That means that I'm licensed by the state of New York to be able to educate children between the grades of kindergarten all the way up to senior in high school. I have experience in collegiate athletics because of my education, where I went to school, and I was being involved with that during the case of my schooling. I am currently one semester away as we speak of furthering that education in physical education with my master's degree. I'll be done by the end of the year, and I'll have a master's in the same field. Physical education. That's, the human body, right? Teaching skills, building endurance, putting fitness programs together, right? Now, I know you take a look at this sweet mantle of perfection.
The physique, yeah.
I know you're seeing what is a premier athletic body, right? But take your eyes, focus up here, off the merchandise
My
for just
eyes
1 second,
are up
and
here,
just look up here
sir.
for just a second, because the aspect of which of this story that to me is the paramount, is the most important, is another aspect just outside of physical education. I'm going to show this to you guys. I blacked out the name because it has my real name on it, but I want to show you this. Okay, this right here is the official certification from the American Heart Association. This was given to me by the Red Cross. Okay, This here says the above individual in the K through 12 school system has successfully completed the cognitive and skills evaluations in accordance with the curriculum of the American Heart Association Heart Savers CPR AED program. Optional modules that were completed was child CPR, AED, and the print's too small. I can't see what the other thing is. I took this course. I've taken this course for several years now. This particular, and you have to re-up every 2 years. You have to re-up to get this, so that you stay up to date with the newest, policies or whatever the case may be. So according to that certification, that means that I am legally able to apply CPR to you, not just to men and women, but boys and girls. All right. Pediatric CPR. I have certification and experience with AED mechanics and AED machines. Okay. And so what I am about to tell you with this next segment comes from a place of expertise. Okay. I've been doing the physical education now for over 10 years, and I've been doing the Red Cross certification courses also for over 10 years. So what I'm about to tell you is coming from a place of both sympathy and experience. But everybody, with the exception of the referee, whose name is Dallas Edwards, everybody by now has seen the clip of the situation that we're talking about. If not, I'll quickly summarize. There was an LVW taping a few days ago, the 12th actually, so about 5 days ago. And there was a match between two individuals with a referee, obviously. And there's a spot where the smaller guy, and for the record, I won't be using any names other than the referees' names, because they're already being harassed as it is. And I'm not against them being harassed, for the record. Everyone understood the assignment, so there's no need for me to throw my name in the hat. I love kicking the man when he's down, but he's already got the boots already stuck to him, so I don't see a spot for me just yet.
Respectating at this point. Respectating.
Yeah. All right. So everyone who's already kicking their asses all over the internet, continue to do so. Right. So the referee is watching, doing his job. He's in the middle of this match. The younger, he probably is younger. The smaller wrestler goes to the top rope. Looks like he's going to execute some sort of top rope move to the bigger gentleman. He comes off the top rope, bigger gentleman moves, and the idea is that this is going to be a ref bump. He hits the referee as stiff as a motherfucker can possibly be hit, and this guy hits the ground and is out. Or so we thought. He's out, but his brain is in full motion, just in the wrong direction. So he takes the bump, and initially the guy who hit him, the guy who came off the top rope, leans in to communicate with him to try to talk to him to see what's going on. The other wrestler, the opponent, comes and grabs him. I'm assuming there's no communication. They just start running spots while the referee is down. Now, while they're doing these spots, the referee is not just down. He's full on seizing. He's having a seizure, complete with shaking body, shaking legs, his
Stiffness.
stiffness. He's out. His brain is literally, no pun intended, spazzing. Literally having spasms, right? He's out. And these guys are running spots. They're taking bumps. At one point, the bigger wrestler in question looks down, sees that the referee hasn't moved yet, and proceeds to not only move him to the side, but he's nudging and kicking with his fucking feet to get this guy to the other side of the fucking ring so they can run their angle right now with another guy who I guess supposedly is a teammate of the big guy, and he comes in and he tries to throw a shot at the smaller guy. He moves and he hits his partner. The old classic, oh no, I fucked up routine. Meanwhile, the referee is going through the fight of his goddamn life. And so they're running all this back and forth, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, after about a minute or so, maybe actually a little north of 2 minutes, the camera starts to shift to the left a little bit, and personnel comes to the ring. Now, the camera does not catch exactly what personnel came to the side of the ring. We don't know if it's medical personnel. We don't know if it's people from the back working the show. I can tell you right now it's nobody from ringside because he'd been shaking for a while. So somebody who's working the camera, somebody who's eyeing the screen, who's keeping an eye, I'm not going to say in the truck because I don't know if they have a truck. It's probably some section in the backstage area that's monitoring the actual show live as they air it. And they took the camera off the guy. Some personnel came, and it led to a complete freezing of everybody in the ring. The crowd started taking it far more serious because the crowd didn't even react like he was out. They was still watching the spots. And the announcers kind of cut away to it and had a sign off for it so that they can get off the air and get Dallas the medical attention that he needs. Now, as we continue with this story, an update, because in my opinion, that is first and foremost of this conversation. What is the well-being of the individual in question? Mr. Dallas Edwards. He is okay. He is fine. He has not suffered, that we know of, any long-term damage. He did receive a concussion, obviously, and it was a nasty concussion, can cause seizures if it's strong enough of a concussion. Concussions have different symptoms. You can become lethargic. There could be dizziness. There could be shortness of breath. But if you get hit hard enough, a seizure is definitely on the fucking table. I don't know if he's epileptic because of just based on the sensitivity that epileptics usually tend to have with surroundings and lighting in that particular building. I'm assuming the entrances with the lights and the screens and stuff, if he was an epileptic, that would have been an issue before this night. So I don't think he has a history with epilepsy. Again, not a medical profession. The doctors would know more. But I think based on what I saw, it was a full-on seizure from the systematic damage he took from the knee, from the hit that he took, not just from the strike, but then landing on the ground, basically, essentially, head first. And that could definitely cause a seizure. Now, to the wrestlers in question, they're the ones who are taking the absolute most heat. That to an extent, I don't think they should get all of the heat here. They have their fair share coming to them. Because if I'm not mistaken, the big one was the one who took the social media defending himself and using the excuse of, well, I didn't know he was having a seizure, which would make you a fucking idiot. To see someone have the mannerisms that he has and not fucking assume that something was wrong, it makes you a fucking idiot. And I would like to call bullshit. Because when he kicked him, when he moved him with his foot, he looked at him. He looked down and he mushed him over You can't tell me you can't see a seizure from that moment. But what he did after proved to me that it was a bullshit comment to make, because he nudges the guy, he kicks the guy over, and it's not a spot that he does. It's an angle. He throws the punch, the guy moves, and he hits his buddy. That's supposed to start off a whole new sequence of consequences. This is a progression to whatever story they're trying to tell. So he looked down at the referee, having a full-blown fucking seizure,
Get
and
out of here, in the way. Move.
decided in that moment it was more important to him to get the angle off than it was to protect what I can only assume when that show was over he referred to as friend. Which,
that's a pretty steep assumption. You don't just assume just because they work together they're fucking friends.
I have heard people say some wild shit when they injure someone else. All of a sudden, I wouldn't have hurt him on purpose. We're friends. All of a sudden, right? All of a sudden,
I'm with you. I heard that.
All of a sudden, hey, I got no reason to hurt the guy. You know,
I'd
we
do
go
anything too to save my ass.
Yeah. So and to the little one who jumped on him and made a connection, I don't want to hear the excuse. Well, at least he checked on him. If he checked on him and he didn't,
he should have related when he got grabbed. When they went down, he should have called something right there. Hold something. Put me in a headlock. We need to talk. Put me in a headlock.
Yeah,
this man is dying. We got.
Yeah, this man is in trouble. There was no care for the situation at all whatsoever. Yeah. So you're probably saying to yourself, "All right, AJ. So who's at fault here? Where does the buck stop when something like this happens?" Right? Technically speaking, despite all of the anger, this was actually an accident. Nobody involved was trying to hurt anybody.
Yeah.
The anger is for the negligence and for the ignorance, but it's not because of the intent, right? So in a situation like that, when you have a company where there's an accident and there's no protocol in place and there's no backup plan, and the people involved in the situation,
there's no instinct, there's no second nature.
So I have to, as a person who has spent a lot of time in business, I go to the top, and that's Mr. Al Snow. Now, Al Snow had some words that he had written down for the fans of OVW and the folks, the fans of professional wrestling, and he released a statement that we have here, and we have this statement here, and I am going to see if I can, because now that I'm looking at it the way that I'm looking at it, I can barely fucking see it, and I'd like to read the whole thing. So give me 1 second, because I'm going to pull up the original file, which is right here. Thank you. So while I have that up, I will read this straight up for you guys to see. In case the font is too small on your screen, I'll read it here. Obviously, the header is OVW. This comes straight from the desk of the owner himself, Mr. Al Snow. It says, "Hello, everyone. This is Al Snow. I want to speak directly to our fans and the wrestling community regarding the incident involving referee Dallas Edwards at last week's event. Professional wrestling has always carried an inherent risk of injury for everyone who steps into the ring. On March 12th, during a live OVW television event, Dallas was involved in a planned moment of physical contact with a wrestler that resulted in him suffering a head injury. Traditionally, when an in-ring injury occurs, the referee is the central point of communication, assessment, and decision-making. In this unprecedented situation, the person who would normally make that assessment was the one who needed assistance. That unforeseen breakdown in communication contributed to a delay in stopping the match and concluding the show." I'm going to pause there for a second because I want to add a little bit more insight to what he's trying to say here as far as the point of communication.
So far, are you calling bullshit?
I'm calling bullshit. I'm not calling bullshit so far in what he's saying as far as the point of communication, because that part's true. In a normal situation involving an accident in the ring, it is usually the referee who makes that determination. Now, here's the thing. In boxing, in MMA, the referees are licensed, and they go through training and they go through orientations, and there's a step-by-step process in those sports. In our sport, unfortunately, that is not always the case. There are some fabulous referees out there. Don't get me wrong. A lot of referees that I have met during my career that not only know their shit as far as how to be an actual referee in the ring, but know what to look for as far as the real shit goes. Whenever there's an incident, I mean, I've had referees check on me when I was blown up. Like, I'm not even hurt. They're just like, you don't have a stroke. You all right? No, I'm good. I'm good. Let me go, coach.
It's just fat. It's just fat.
I
need to work.
I'm obese. Right? So there's a lot of referees. I can name them by name. They're phenomenal referees, and they're really, really good. But I would be lying to you if I told you that every referee has that ability. There's a lot of people in independent wrestling that are referees simply because some guy gave them a striped shirt, and they have no business being in the ring in any capacity, let alone a referee, because I don't know if anybody knows this, but a referee is not a throwaway position. That is arguably one of the most important positions in wrestling because of this situation. When the shit hits the fan, when the shit goes down, someone has to make the call and someone has to buy the time for the wrestlers to protect themselves, and that's where the referee comes in. If you don't know how to be a referee, you should not be a referee. Now, I'm not putting Dallas in that category. I'm speaking in generality. From what I understand, because this is my first time hearing about him, and I'm hearing about him from a lot of different people within the industry, he's a pretty well-respected referee. A lot of guys like working with him as a referee, which makes this even more upsetting to me because here's a guy that if the role was reversed,
he would have your back.
He would have protected everybody. But now the shit fell on him, and nobody helped.
No one was there to help him.
Nobody was there to help. So I'll continue on with the rest of this. End it with that unforeseen breakdown in communication contributed to a delay in stopping the match and concluding the show. That's where I call bullshit because the referee shouldn't be. The referee has to have their eyes and ears on everything that happens in the ring, but they shouldn't be the only one.
Yeah.
Paying attention to the ring in case of an emergency. There needs to be protocols and there needs to be systems in place for the protection of everyone involved, not just the wrestlers. But anything can happen to anybody. A ring announcer could turn his fucking ankle coming out of the ring. You don't know. So there needs to be stuff in place, but we'll get to that in a second, right? We are relieved to hear that Dallas is recovering and receiving the medical care he needs. Our thoughts are with him, and we're hoping for his continued improvement. Same here. On behalf of the podcast, on behalf of the AEW Network, we're wishing you well as well, and we hope you are able to not only continue working, but continue your quality of life. At OVW, the health and safety of our performers and officials has always been our top priority. We are proud of the standards we've maintained over the years. You should not be saying that directly after an incident just like this. Now, if he'd have said it on March 11th, what a comment to make. All right, I'm glad you're looking out for the boys. But you're writing this letter because you didn't look out for the boys. People who protect their talent don't write letters like this. So that's not true. It's just not. They just proved it. But also,
if you did what you're saying, the situation would have been better. This letter still would have went out, right, but it would have been worded way differently.
Everyone is under the same idea, both in the wrestling business and out, the fandom, or even third-party like news reporters or anything like that. Everyone is of the agreement that this was a complete accident. That this was not a situation that could have been avoided. It was just bad timing on a knee, and it's just shit happens. That part is true. But protection of the boys and talent and protection of people in general isn't always preventing the injury. It's how you respond when the injury occurs. And right, you didn't respond. So you can't write this in good faith because it's not true. He's in the hospital. That's not true at all. We are proud of this. I just read that. But we also recognize that there is always room to strengthen and improve. That part I like because he's not taking himself completely off the hook here. With that in mind, We are reviewing our existing procedures and updating several of our in-ring and ringside protocols to ensure we continue to meet the highest expectations for performer safety. I like that too. And I'll get to that line at the end of this. These updates include enhanced communication systems, which was probably the real problem of this whole thing. They probably did have people ringside, but couldn't see him seizing based on their positioning, whereas the people who were watching the monitor in the back could very clearly see that this was a problem. But if he didn't have a method of the person watching the screen didn't have an IFB or any way of method to communicate to ringside that this was legitimately a shoot, he's hurt, then that's the lack of communication he's talking about, and I'm hoping that he does. By the way, I just threw that term out of nowhere. IFB is the earpiece / microphone combination that the referees wear in their ear, the one with the where it wires to a pack on their belt. That's the IFB. So there's a lot of companies that don't have that. They are very expensive, and referees for the most part don't really enjoy wearing them because the only way you could really do IFB is if you buy that referee the IFB. You can't buy IFBs, right? Because if Joey worked your show and put the IFB on it, and then he just took it, put it in a box, and gave it back to you, and then the next show you gave it to Tony's not going to want to wear the IFB. It's got fucking Joey all over this shit. I don't want this shit in my ear, dude. I'm not doing that. So it becomes an issue. So you have to, the way that I always saw it done is you bought the IFB for this person. This is your IFB now. I want you to take care of it, and I only wear it here. Right? Don't change any channels. Don't change any communication device. It's just you can keep it on you so that you're assured that no one else has used it. It's yours. But just make sure you take care of it and you bring it here. If you lose it, break it, I'm gonna have to charge you for it. But just for your safety, you can have it on you and bring it to the show so that you know it's yours. But there's ways around that, is what I'm trying to get at. If you want to do that, several in-ring protocols with the highest. Okay, yeah. Additional referee training, which is nice to get the referees more training, especially if you have referees that don't have any training. But the referee training wasn't the issue here. The referee got caught and clipped by accident. They were supposed to take the bump. He was supposed to take contact. And I'm sure if Dallas is as good as everyone says he is, it's not the first time he's taken a ref bump. It was just a bad situation.
I mean, the more precaution, the better.
I'm not against it. I'm not against it. But
wasn't the issue here.
That wasn't the issue here, right? Expanded ringside response measures to help ensure that a situation like this is identified and addressed as quickly as possible. I would like to add to that because one of the biggest excuses, which is what we'll call it because that's what it is, that he came up with, or the people in general came up with about why they didn't react is because they couldn't tell that something was wrong with him. Actually, what a lot of people have been saying is that they felt like they were perhaps overselling it. They just thought he was overselling it. Like a Devon, when Devon sells with the seizure like that. When Devon sells, he's mimicked that kind of activity before. So at one point, there were people ringside that were saying that he was kind of getting angry. The bigger wrestler was kind of getting angry with him. Like, what are you doing? Like, move, you're in the way. Like, they get mad at him. Like, if the wrestlers can't identify it, that's one thing. They're in the heat of whatever the fuck it is they're doing. But somebody ringside has to see something, right? So I like the fact that it's like to have it identified and addressed. Because even if he is overselling, because I've heard people use that excuse, well, if he's overselling, ask. You can ask. You walk up. If he's selling as a work, but he's selling like a seizure where he shakes, work with him. Dive. Make it, treat it like he's really seizing, and then ask him, are you good? You all right? And most people who are working right in the middle of their shakes to go, I'm good. Just back up. And just, you get a response. You're fine. But if he's seizing and you go in and you go, are you good? And he goes, he's not working. Do not side on work. Always side with shoot and wait for them to confirm the work. You don't pretend that it's a work and find out later to shoot because
Yeah, and then later when you get in the back, don't do that shit again. Don't oversell my shit.
You
like
know what?
that.
I would have done because
You know what I mean?
what I would have done because I've had it happen to me is I would go in the back and first of all definitely make sure he's good, and then secondly go, you had me, bro, because I thought for sure, I thought for sure you were fucked up, but no, you're good, bro. All right, you got me. That was good. And we end this letter with, we appreciate the concern and passion from our fans, and we understand the importance of transparency during moments like this. We will continue to share updates when appropriate, and we ask everyone to keep Dallas in your thoughts as he continues in his recovery. So that is the written word there from the boss, El Jefe himself, Mr. Al Snow. I gave you live reaction to everything that he said, so we're not going to go over that anymore. But everyone's killing these guys on the internet, and rightfully so. Fucking stupid across the board. Just everything was just stupid across the board. And if I'm Dallas, the tweet or the social media post that he sent out about him with the thumbs up and everything's good and yada yada yada, there's video evidence of negligence. And I have heard the word lawsuit thrown around here, right? And I don't think, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm thinking there's plenty in that video to move forward with something if he really, really wanted to. But I don't think that he will, because he's one of those guys where he's always wanted to be in the industry. He's always wanted to be in the business. He knows that if he does this, that'll probably be the last match he ever referees again. And he doesn't want to leave the industry. So he's just going to take his lumps, be one of the good old boys, and power through. But I think personally that's unfair, not just to him, but to everybody. Because a lot of promoters lean on that. They get away with so much shit in this business because there's so many people who are now in it that always dreamed of one day being in the industry so that they leave their business mind behind. They just let it go. There's so much illegal shit that happens in independent wrestling, and it just goes untalked about because everybody in the industry at this point now, especially on the indie level, are all just a bunch of people who just really, really wanted to fucking be here so fucking bad. And he's one of those people. I'm sure that he doesn't want to pursue it because this is his family, right? We're a family, the OVW family, the same family that practically left you for dead in front of an audience full of people and on whatever affiliate this program airs on. And so I'm sure that he's not going to push the issue, but I'm going to push.
I will say that I don't know what I would do, but if I can from the outside, there is a 90% chance I personally wouldn't do that.
I'm probably in the same boat.
Me personally, I don't know. Like I'm trying to put myself in his position. I don't know the guy, so it's really hard to do that. Yeah. If I knew anything about him, I think it'd be a little bit easier. But if I'm just from watching the video, put myself in that position and the way that I am, the way that I think, end up being kind of like, okay, you're fine. I don't know. I don't know if I pursue that. I hope, you know what I mean, that like maybe I've earned some respect, like that you kind of hope that's what you get off the back of that. Maybe help your career down the line. You're a company guy at this point.
Oh no, yeah, he's a made man now. He'll have a job at OVW for as long as he wants it.
He should be.
No, he will.
He should be. Okay, well, hopefully he does. Yeah. And if he does, if you're telling me there's 100% chance in that situation, I'm in good graces
with that company and with those people involved, I think they're gonna.
Yes and no. That's not entirely fair because that type of word travels. Just like if he were to sue and it'd be hard for him to get another job, this type of shit also, this is like that negative positivity shit that kind of like rolls positively with him too. And I would have that in my head. So basically I'd be coming down to is like, okay, do I want to die on this hill? There's a percentage that I die on this hill and can't do this again. Or do I just kind of like it is what it is. It happened, and let me just roll with the punches. And he is going to be looked at different as a ref going forward as well. So it just depends on what you want. And to be honest, I don't think he's shaming either way.
In reality, you know, we want, again, we've already said it here. We wish him the best. We hope he's able to regain his quality of life the same way he had it before the injury occurred, because a brain injury is nothing to fuck with. But at the same time, if we're being realistic, I think something like that also might worry promoters, right? Because freak accidents happen, but who was the one who was in bad position? Was it the referee or the guy coming off the top rope? Because accidents happen, but you have to learn from those accidents. What went wrong? How can we prevent it, right? So those are things that have to be kept into perspective when discussing a topic like this. But while he may not push the issue on this, I am going to push the issue with everybody, with my fellow brothers and sisters of the industry. And that little piece of paper that I showed you at the beginning of this, from the CPR classes and the AED programs and all that stuff that I took and I did, one of the topics of conversation when you take those classes is seizures. Now, in public schools, they have something called the code blue. Code blue is called on a walkie or on a PA system whenever you have either a choking child or a seizing child. Choking child, self-explanatory. Everybody knows what to do when you see someone choking, right? You either give them the pat on the back or you give them the Heimlich, right? 2 hands underneath the diaphragm, a squeeze, pat on the back. For an adult, it's a power pull. Pull. Try to get that airway out. For a child, also depends. If they're a bigger child, you can still go around the back and give them the old ha, or you could use the ketchup bottle method. If you have like an infant, or even a toddler, I guess you could do, but predominantly for infants, right? You take their body, you hold them by the belly like this, you poke them down, and you ketchup bottle the back to try to get that shit out of the airway. Same thing with CPR, right? Everyone knows that you put your hands on and you go, breathe, God damn it, and they start beating on the chest like this, and in every movie you see the water come out. Well, in CPR, it's the same thing. 30 compressions, breathe in, check a pulse, blah, blah, blah. Breathe in, check, and you keep the compressions going and you keep the airways as free as you possibly can up until the EMTs arrive. Now, and that's for a cold blue. That's for a school system situation, right? In a school system situation, there's always a bunch of people usually around. Somebody passes out a seizure, it draws a crowd. You'll want to clear all that space out, right? AED machines, it's a whole nother lesson, but as far as just for the choking part, for a seizure, and this is what we're talking about for this incident, for a seizure, people always ask, well, AJ, if they fucked up, let's say they did acknowledge, oh shit, he's having a seizure. What are they supposed to do? They're in the middle of a weird situation. It's an audience full of people. Everyone's eyeing them. Here's what you do. Because the number one question that I always hear from people is, if someone's having a seizure, what am I supposed to do? Only 2 things. That's it. One of them you do. The other one you don't fucking do. That's it. You do. These are the only 2 things you have to worry about. Because you cannot stop a seizure. Once a person is in a seizure, that's it. Buckle up, bitch. You're in for the ride. That's it. There's nowhere to go. All right. So when someone is having a seizure,
let me guess. Is it? Well, no. See, I feel like I'm mixing something.
Go ahead. Go. What we got?
It's not. It's not move them to the side, is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
It is.
Because you don't want them to swallow their tongue, right?
And that's number 2. So first step, you turn them to their side. Okay. Now, in this particular case, there's no injured arm, because normally when a person has a seizure, they're standing up when they have it. No one's standing and goes, uh-oh, I better sit down. I'm about to have a seizure. They usually just have a fucking seizure, which means they fall. If they fall and injure a particular side of their body, you put them on the side that's not injured. If there's no injury, if they happen to fall correctly or you caught them or whatever the case may be, pick any side you want. It doesn't really matter. You put them on their side. The one you just said is the second thing you don't do, which is everyone always says, "Oh, they're going to swallow their tongue." They can't swallow their tongue. Not an option on the table. It will look like it because of the way that the body is. What you're seeing is muscle spasms. The whole body's doing it, but the tongue is the most visible, so it freaks people out. People have done things like put shit in the mouth. The old school that put a wallet in his mouth so he could just bite on the wallet or whatever. No, you don't need to do any of that. It's going to suck. It's going to hurt. And when the seizure is over, a seizure is like every muscle in your body all locking up all at the same exact time. So when the seizure is over, they're going to be winded. They're going to be tired. It'll be like they just ran the fucking 10K.
It's like an exercise all at
wild,
the same time.
A wild cardio experiment just took place right now, right? So you do what you don't do, and this is the most common one, is that people would tend to put their finger in the mouth to prevent the tongue from going back.
You will bite the shit out of your finger.
You will lose your finger quick, fast, and in a hurry. And now they're not gonna choke on their tongue. They're gonna choke on your finger because your dumb ass put your hand in there for no goddamn reason. You don't do that. Okay. What you want to do is one person comes to the person on the ground. You make sure they go on their side and you keep them there because they're locking up. They don't have full control and balance. So you got to balance them for them. The reason why you turn them on their side is so that no, they can't swallow their tongue, but the mouth still has fluids. God forbid they have a seizure while they're eating or whatever the case may be. There's stuff in the mouth that can choke them. The last thing you want to do is to have a person have a seizure in the middle of a room and drown, which is possible. Okay. Yeah, so you want to turn them on their side so gravity helps, keeps things limited to the side, and then you could wait it out. Okay. Pro tip: if somebody's having a seizure, time it. You want to time the seizure. You want to know exactly how long they're seizing for. When they're in the middle of a seizure, you or another person who's with you, if there happens to be other people, can time it. Let them count. They could use their phones, whatever the case may be. You need that second person or a third, if it's possible, to then use their phone to call 911 and have an EMT come to the situation. When the EMT comes to see the situation, by the time they get there, the seizure is usually over. If they're still seizing, by the time the EMT gets there,
we got a bigger problem.
Way bigger problem. Okay. Yeah. The highest number I have ever personally timed is 1 minute and 10. And when I did that, the EMT was not happy. Right. So it ranges. You don't want seizures to last a long time because it can do irreparable damage not only to the body, but to the brain. So you don't want a long seizure, but there's nothing you can do about the seizure. You got to ride this bitch out. Right. So after the seizure comes to an end, you roll the person back onto their back. After that person is done with the timing, it would help if it's possible. In a school setting, this is possible. In this setting, the wrestling ring, it's probably still possible to get some sort of towel or something for them to rest their head. If you want to get a smaller one that you can wet and put over their head because their body's going to be really hot. They just processed a lot of shit. And you hold them there and you don't let them go anywhere until the EMTs come and take the situation. If the seizure leads into unconsciousness, check for breathing, check for the passage of the airway, check the pulse. If there's no pulse, you can begin CPR. If you check the airway and you don't see a breath, but you have a pulse, you can still use CPR, but now you have a different set of issues, right? There's a million ways around all that stuff. The idea here, if you're running a company, is that everything that I just told you is not anything that I don't think the average adult can do if they knew it. Most people, and I teach my son this every single day, the worst thing any human being can do in any emergency situation is fucking panic. Because even if you're trained, once you panic, it all goes away. You cannot freak the fuck out in situations where people need your help. Easier said than done, I get it. You, especially if if you take these skills and you've never really had to use them, and then all of a sudden it's your child or it's your father or if it's your best friend or whatever, and you're in charge of saving that person's life, yeah, there's a lot on the line. It can really get to you, but you have a greater percentile chance of helping this person survive if you don't freak the fuck out. Be in control of the situation. Turn the person on their side. Monitor their breathing. Make sure this person is timing it. If you're the only person in the room, when you hold that person to the side, count in your head, use the Mississippi. Even if it's not accurate, it ballparks it. Even if you have a long one Mississippi, two, as opposed to one Mississippi, two Mississippi, yeah, it's different speed, but you could range it. Even an EMT will tell you, how long was he seizing for? 45 seconds. What did you use to count? Mississippi's. Count to 5 for me. One Mississippi, two Mississippi. Now he has an idea. Was it 45 seconds? It's within 45 to 60 seconds in that range.
Mm-hmm.
They could ballpark it. You can save this person's life with that. Now, none of this stuff is, and I'm telling you guys, is outrageous. None of this stuff you need years of medical training to understand. This is all precautionary emergency shit. The problem that happened here is that the people involved didn't know any of this and didn't know how to recognize what they were looking at. They thought it was the work, which again, I'll say it again for the record. Do not side with work.
Don't assume.
Always side with the shoot. Who gives a fuck if you're embarrassed about that after the fact? Make sure the person you're working with is alive before you move to the next fucking thing. If he's working and you go down, like when he hit this dude with the knee and he checked on him, you all right, bro? I'm good, bro. Keep working. You're good. But if you go, hey, bro, you okay? And you don't hear shit, he's hurt.
Yeah.
And like you said, call something. As soon as that dude grabbed me, powder out. Get him the fuck off of you. Leave the ring. Because he's not going to look at the referee. He's going to look at you. And yeah, he'll be pissed at you because he doesn't know what's going on. You just pulled some shit that he don't know about, and he's going to be fucking mad at you. That's fine. Let him be mad right now. Once he finds out what you know and what you heard, what has to happen now in the ring, he'll get over it. He'll be like, oh, I didn't know. Okay, fine. Good. You made the right choice. But stop the fucking action. Stop it. You could run your angle next week. You didn't need to run it right here, right now, in this moment. The 100 people that were in the building will forgive you. It's okay. It's all right. So quickly, I did not procure this information on the internet. I did not go to the school system, did not give me this information. As you can see, I got it directly from the American Heart Association. I got it from taking classes at it was one class actually, and then it's one course that you take to get the overall certification, and then there's overall, I'll just take him out for now. And then there's overall refurbishing classes. So it's all like a refresher, right? You come in, there's a test that you take that brushes up on the skill. You hit them with the CPR and do all that other stuff. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you guys really, really quickly. I think I still have it here. Share screen. Here. Boom. There we go. So I have this here. I wanted to show you guys. There you go. Nice and big for you guys to see. So this is on the redcross.org website. redcross.org/take a class. And you have different choices. CPR, AED, all of this stuff. Look, lifeguarding, skill sessions. This is the one that I took. I took the AED. There's some courses, like for instance, right here, I think it is, where it's, first aid, CPR, AED online. They have online courses that you can take. There's also in-person, as you can tell by the actual, by the search bar here on the, not search bar, but underneath the type of class, you'll see the city and state that I looked it up. Louisville, Kentucky is what I looked up. And I looked it up because that's where this shit took place. This whole situation took place in Louisville, Kentucky. And it took place um, with OVW, and you can take this course. If you see here at the top, use my location. You can add a zip code here. There is a course option online, and there's a course option in person in any state in the United States. All you need to do is come here, and you can find the packages. You can do just first aid. You could do just CPR. You could do a whole package, which is the pediatric and adult first aid, CPR, AED machine. That's the. By the way, we've said AED a bunch of times. It's the defibrillator, the ski clear that thing. It teaches you how to use that. Okay, you can do it in Kentucky. Here, I use my location here, Brooklyn, New York. I'll put it through there, just so you can see the variety. Right there, boom, and I come down, and now look, it's going to take me to Manhattan, or there's a couple here in Brooklyn that I can take. There's some in Mineola. Mineola's in Long Island, but the Bronx. All you have to do is put in your zip code here, and it'll take you to the classes that are the closest to you. And yeah, they could be a little pricey from time to time, but the certification that you get is for 2 years. You're certified. You're certified to take these classes, and you're certified to use the skills. So in case of an emergency, if something happens, even if, forget wrestling for just a second, even if you just go to like the corner store and somebody all of a sudden starts to have a seizure and they fall down, you're able to help this individual make it to the hands of a trained professional like an EMT or a police officer or a firefighter that has more health and first aid training, and they can take over the scene for you. But you can possibly be a life-saving individual with these skills. It's not going to cost you a whole lot of money, and you can even do it online, or you can do it in person. I prefer in person because I want to get like a more in-depth like feel for the actual for the CPR and have questions or whatever the case may be. Online will give you the same materials, but they won't be able to really test you the way that, you know what I mean, that you will really be tested. And it's useful to do that because when you go back for those refresh courses, when you come back and you get tested again to keep up on your skills, it's good to already kind of have the physical motion and everything like that. So I'm giving this information for people out so that you can avoid being in this position. To me, that's really what it really comes down to. I don't want you guys in this position. I don't want you guys to have to worry at all about, hold on a second, let me take this out. There we go. I don't want you guys to be in a position like this, where this could, Dave made a good point earlier. It's lofty to assume that because they work in the same place that they're friends. But at the same time, let's just pretend that they are, right? Let's pretend that you're working with some individuals that are your friends, that are people that are close to you, and they're having a seizure. They're in a medical emergency situation. You could stand there and do nothing because you don't know what to do, or you can spend, like I just showed you here, $80 and learn the skill set that might be able to save your friend. Everybody's online killing these individuals, and again, I don't have a strict problem with anybody being chastised or criticized for behaving that way while somebody's going through an actual living, breathing medical emergency. But I don't want to just kick someone while they're down and then go about my business. Like I said at the beginning of this, I don't mind breaking you down so much as I like also bringing you back up. Okay? We could avoid situations like this by taking some initiative. As I said in my Facebook post, do the work. This is the work. This is not only life-saving for you, it's life-saving for the people around you. Don't get put in a situation where you're going to be asked out and in a situation where you don't have the skill set or the capability of being of use. The referee is supposed to be the one that communicates the issue. The referee is supposed to be the one who sits there and communicates with individuals as far as the matches are concerned. But with this website, if you go to the Red Cross and you take these classes, which are the same classes that I took, that got me that certification I showed you at the beginning of this segment, and I've used these skills more times than I'm actually like proud of, because to use these skills, that means somebody's in a real bad situation.
I'm
And
glad I never had to use them. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah,
I've been trained because when I was a manager in a warehouse, we actually had to be certified to do this. We were the only people, us and like upper management, were the only ones certified. So God forbid something happened, dude. When they trained me, I'm like, bro, please, everybody, I don't want to use this shit. Please.
if you don't want me to kiss you, don't choke.
Hey, hey,
You
yo.
stepped out. You stepped out for a second, but I literally just showed the Red Cross website
Yeah.
where I got the certification and stuff. You could do $40, take a first aid class. You could do $80, combine it with a CPR. You could, if you've got that kind of cash and you really want to be on top of it, the $200 gives you the whole shebang, the AED, the first aid, the CPR. It's going to tell you more information about the seizures that I just mentioned, choking victims, the whole shebang. All you need, and those licenses, those certifications are good for 2 years at a time. 2 years at a time, and then you got to take it again just because there's some new information that got discovered along
If
the
you're
way.
a ref, it's good to have, man. They depend on you. I mean,
I was just saying this once you stepped out. Everybody. I don't give a shit if you're a ring announcer. I don't give a shit if you're a referee. I don't give a shit if you're a wrestler. I don't give a shit if you're the ticket taker. If you're a human being and you want to protect the people that are around you, take the fucking course. Because had big guy in the ring, before shoving someone off, had taken at least one of these courses, he would have realized that the arm stiffening and the leg shaking is a seizure, not selling. The fact that he couldn't tell the difference, A, mark, B, ignorant. You're in the sports world. Know some goddamn first aid training. Know something besides taping up your fist to look like a badass.
And although what he is saying is most optimal and best, 9 times out of 10 ain't gonna happen. So I'm gonna speak to the person that is willing to take the initiative. If you've been thinking about it, or at least open to the idea after hearing this conversation, please go. Because if you're in a room full of 50 people, you probably gonna be the only motherfucker in that room. Is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to disregard what you're saying, because you're right.
No,
that's the most optimal way to do it. If you're in a room right now full of 50 people, none of them got it. So if you're at least interested or whatever, just it will make you feel better, because although I trust myself when it comes to like fight or flight situations, I get weirdly calm with shit. I don't know. It's weird. Like,
no, I got it too. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
When I think about it, I get stressed out. But when shit starts happening, like, I get weirdly calm and I just try to like whatever. So I don't even want it to happen. And I have confidence in myself that I will be able to recognize and at least try my best to help. If you're someone who's afraid it might happen and you're uneducated, but you have a fear of not helping or sees, go do it. It's really not that long. It's great information to have, and you could save someone's life or your own. So,
and if there's a person who doesn't want to take the course because let's say they don't have the money or the time, you took the course. Tell them how to save your life. Hey, if this ever happens, bro, right here. Put it right fucking here. If this shit ever happens to me, fucking right here, man, just fucking do it.
And it only takes one. It's another incentive to do it, especially if you're this type of guy. I'm kind of this type of guy, so if you're that type of guy too, you could be afraid to have to deal with this stuff because it is kind of scary to make sure someone is good and that onus kind of lands on you. But it takes one person in the room with confidence to change the whole energy in the room. Right? It could go from complete panic to like, oh shit, okay, let's follow this guy. He knows what the fuck. Give me a towel, get him to the side, move away. Can you time this for me? I'm gonna watch him. I'm gonna watch his. And now they're like, all right, they're following you. Like, if you're okay being that guy, be that guy and hope you never have to fucking do it your entire life. But if you do, you're gonna save someone's fucking life.
And this shouldn't be the incentive, but if you do become that guy, you're gonna get more bookings. Every promoter is going to want
100%. No, it should be the incentive. If I have one spot left and I have 2 refs and they're fairly decent, let's say one's slightly better than the other, but one I know is CPR trained and maybe has an experience or two being able to handle that high intense situation, I'm going with the guy trained.
Yeah.
I am. So again, it sounds very niche. It sounds very unlikely, but always, especially if you're that guy they're leading on, always give yourself that competitive edge to be. You're the referee, you're the healer, you're the person in there taking care of everybody and making sure you're the composer of this opera, you know what I mean, or of this orchestra. So if you don't have all the tools, then you're not gonna be able to take care of everything. And I'm telling you, if not for other people, do it for yourself. So when it happens, you ain't fucking, you know what I mean? You don't get caught up doing the wrong thing and now you're like getting dragged through the mud and shit like that. So
yep. So there you go. We're gonna go ahead and take this down. And listen, we did all that without shouting. You see that? Everybody's out here losing their goddamn minds over the whole goddamn situation. What they did was fucking stupid. But you gotta help them. You gotta help them. They're still gonna be getting booked no matter what. They're gonna be out here working. So
it's unfortunate, but in reality, this is how people learn, and thankfully, it wasn't at the cause of a death in order to learn some shit. So hopefully, all these people grow from this. This is a very optimal situation, learning situation. So yeah, hopefully, Al Snow does what he needs to do over there.
This should have been a scare and a half for your ass. Like this.
Yeah, this is a wake-up call. You ain't listening.
If this happened on the 12th, I'm hoping that the facility had a meeting on the 13th. This cannot happen again. We cannot experience this again. So I hope they do. For the most part, I do like everybody involved. I don't know the individuals specifically within the ring, but the people who are higher up in OVW, I've been fans of for a while. I do still to this day wish the best for the company, but this goes to every company. You gotta fix this. Mm-hmm. You gotta fix this. So, hey, look, folks out there, once again, just like at the top of the show, a lot of new subscribers, a lot of ears, a lot of new ears, a lot of new eyes on the product. And I have some news here at the end. Daddy's got a new toy.
Hey, yo.
So, as I told you at the beginning, I schedule a lot of our videos and content to hit YouTube throughout the course of a week. I just found out that Kick and Twitch and Instagram, which are social media and content tools that we've used in the past for our live shows, but they don't really retain, like Instagram, but Twitch and Kick don't retain live videos. You stream it and then it just kind of goes away. There's no real content on the actual page. And it turns out there's
an archive.
There's an archive, but it doesn't stay for long, and it only clips if you like set it up to like you have to like design it to like.
I mean, your streams. I don't know for how long, but I know your streams will stay up there. But anyway, go ahead.
So here's the thing: majority of like, for instance, Twitch and Kick, even if you had clips up, even if you had videos up, the predominant purpose of those platforms is for the live aspect. And you and I can't go live every fucking day. We got shit we got to do.
Maybe soon, maybe one day.
But in the meanwhile, in the meantime, and in between time, your boy found out that a program that he already has and we're using right now not only can stream live shows and schedule shows, I can schedule videos to go live on their own. So,
like a premiere almost on YouTube.
Right. It's gonna, so I have, so StreamYard, I can take, like, for instance, they have a 2-hour limit, so I wouldn't be able to put the whole show, but you know how I cut the show up into segments.
Mm-hmm.
I can now schedule content to go live on Twitch and on Kick every day without us even being near it. And we'll still be live every week on Twitch and Kick. So I'm going to play with that this week. I want to see how that goes. I want to see how that, the more eyes, the merrier. And speaking of which, even though those videos will be live, we won't be able to interact with you because they'll be pre-recorded videos. But
No, that's a good way. That's a good way to play that, though. Okay,
yeah,
we
let's
can do
get
like live rewinds and shit.
Yeah, I'm thinking of how we can build the audience on those platforms would be go live to schedule some stuff. But on this day, we will be extra hella live on April 14th. It's a Tuesday at 7 p.m. We're doing our annual WrestleMania live convo this year, 42, back in Vegas, back in black. It's going to be me. It's going to be Deceived Dave. It's going to be a litany of guests. And of course, it'll be you in the chat joining in. You're not just going to hear us. You'll be able to communicate with us. We'll be able to communicate back. It'll be a hell of a good time. This is us promoting it one more time. We're going to be promoting it heavy between now and April 14th. It's a WrestleMania live convo. The OUM network at it again. I personally cannot wait. I'm looking forward to it. Those are usually some of our best shows, those live convos. And especially when we have certain people on, which you know who they are and you know who you are. And we're going to have a whole lot of fun. So we knocked out a lot of shit here today. So if you're a new subscriber, if you're a new listener, if you're a new viewer, thank you once again for supporting the channel and supporting the show. I hope you had a good time watching this episode. We got many more to go. So thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for sharing. And of course, thank you guys for... Oh, I just realized. No, I didn't. We're done. All right, guys. Have a good one. I completely, it flashed something on the screen just now, but it was for something else. I thought it was going to kill my ending. I was like, Jesus. And then I ended up killing my own ending. So how about that?
There you go.
Deuces. We'll see you next week.
Mic drop. Wait a minute. This is too much. Cooking it like a pro. Wrap it up, everybody. Show's over.